بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا وعظيمنا وحبيب قلوبنا وشفيع نفوسنا أبي القاسم محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين وأصحابه الغر الميامين. الحمد لله الذي جعلنا من المتمسكين بولاية سيدي ومولاي علي بن أبي طالب. اللهم صل على محمد. الحمد لله الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله. أما بعد، يقول الله في كتابه الكريم: بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. عتل بعد ذلك زنيم. The first of our salawat in honor of Rasulullah Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. The second in honor of Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib. The third with your loudest voices in honor of the Imam of our time, Imam Sahib al-Asr wa Zaman. Respected brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh. The discussion concerning walad al-zina, or the child of adultery, is one of the most fascinating discussions in Islamic law. At the same time, it is one of the most controversial discussions in Islamic law. A discussion which has many sensitive traditions related to it, but a discussion that requires a thorough examination. For not only has it been a discussion within the history of Islamic law, but is also a contemporary legal discussion until today. As we know, adultery is viewed as one of the biggest sins in the religion of Islam. The ability for a human being to cause destruction to another family by having a relationship with someone who is married, knowing full well that she is in a good relationship with her husband already, is without a doubt seen as a heinous crime, and a crime which destroys the very fabric of the community. Without a doubt, Islam as a religion is harsh towards adultery, because adultery is an act that has a domino effect. Not only are you affecting the family, you're also going to bring tense relations between the members of the community. Therefore, you find that when Islamic punishment is seen as being vicious towards adultery, it's because Islam wants the human being to honor the rights of another human being, to guard their honor, to guard their dignity, to protect themselves. Islam recognized that a person who commits adultery not only may destroy a family, but may bring a child into this world who is a child with a stigma around them. And you find in the community today, in the world at large, the media doesn't seem to condemn adultery. Rather now, adultery is a norm, as in when there are programs on the television like Sex and the City, like Desperate Housewives, like programs with these types of names. These names are encouraging adultery, not discouraging. Rather, they are saying that it's actually cool that fornication with someone else's partner while they're out at work is not something bad. Rather, it's something which is made light of. There is a joke at the end of the comment. People laugh at the actors. And the irony of all ironies is when the box set is in certain Muslim households. What you find therefore is, when you look at this, you find therefore that one of the results of this fornication or act of adultery is that a child may be born. That child who is born, without a doubt, has a stigma surrounding them. On the first level, if that child doesn't know who the father is, there is a feeling or a sense of loss in the world that surrounds them. Suddenly the world is blamed for everything. That child sees at school every day their friend's father coming to pick them up, whereas they ask their mother, "Mother, where's daddy? Why have I never met daddy? How can I meet daddy? When will daddy come back into my life?" That feeling for that child of not receiving an answer as they're growing up is detrimental, because psychologically you look at all your friends on Father's Day, but you yourself either were told you had a father but he's not there anymore, or your mom might even turn around and say, you know what, I don't even know who your father was and I'm sorry about that. The result may be that that child could hate the world. And when a human being hates the world that surrounds them, there is no limit to what that human is willing to perform. Because sometimes you'll find that even if you look at the special victims unit in any police department in the world, when you ask them, why did this crime take place? In many cases, there is a childhood memory. Sometimes that childhood memory is a deficiency in the ego of that person, saying that there's something missing in their life. The question therefore arises is that within the religion of Islam, how does the law of Islam look at walad zina, or the child of zina? Because sometimes people turn around and say, why is Islam so harsh against a child who did nothing wrong? Yes, the mother may have had a relationship and resulted in that child. But why is it that as we were growing up we were told the son of zina cannot lead salah? How many of you have heard as you were growing up that the son of zina, that haram zad is someone who can't lead salah, or the son of zina is someone who cannot become a mujtahid in the school of Ahl al-Bayt, or the son of zina is someone who will never love Ali ibn Abi Talib? I said many times you hear in the poetry that if you want to know the haters of Ali ibn Abi Talib, look at their lineage, then you'll know that they must be the sons of zina. Someone turns around and says, is that fair that a child who did nothing wrong, you put a blame on him that even salah he can't lead? And this problem becomes even more contemporary in the Muslim world today. Why? Because we have many reverts in the Muslim world today. In the past, you would have a more insular Muslim community. Today you have reverts who have come from Christian backgrounds, Jewish backgrounds, atheist backgrounds, Hindu backgrounds, Sikh backgrounds. That revert, when he comes to the religion of Islam, in many cases is someone who knows more about the religion than the one born into it. As in you'll find on many occasions the revert knows more about the religion of Islam than those who are born. As in those who are born in the religion of Islam, many of them you'll find haven't given the religion the thought that it deserves. Whereas the revert had to struggle, had to look, had to find. That revert who finds Ali ibn Abi Talib's love, can I turn around to that revert and say, you know what, you, because you're a revert, you must have come from a relationship of adultery? Now someone will say, no, the nikah of someone in a religion is sufficient for them. Yes, we agree, in Islamic law, the nikah of another religion is sufficient. But there are many reverts who will tell you, listen, to tell you the honest truth, I don't know my dad, and I never met my dad, and I'm not ashamed to say that I was born in a house where even my mom doesn't remember my dad. But you look at that revert and you ask them, do you love Ali ibn Abi Talib? Wallah, they can tell you more about Ali ibn Abi Talib than half of the families in the school of Ahl al-Bayt. They'll explain and explain. Someone asks, well then, if walad zina cannot love Ali ibn Abi Talib, how do I explain to an American revert today who's maybe come from a relationship of adultery, how do I explain to them that they can't love Ali ibn Abi Talib? Therefore, the issue of walad zina was a sensitive issue, especially when you look at the hadiths of the Imams of Ahl al-Bayt. As I tell you tonight, I'm going to give you some narrations from the Imams of Ahl al-Bayt, which are vicious narrations. As in when you read them, you're like, oh my Lord, the son of zina is certainly looked down upon. As if I were to give you an example, Imam al-Baqir salawatullah wa salamuhu alayhi, Imam al-Baqir was once asked about the son of zina. He said, yes, the child of zina is the production of shaitan with the zaniya. Now when someone hears that, they're thinking, hold on a minute, so you're saying that the son of zina is the production of Satan with the mother? When Imam al-Baqir says something like that, someone turns around and says, hold on a minute, this school is meant to be a school of justice. How could a child who has done nothing wrong be blameworthy for an act which the parents committed? Therefore tonight I'd like to examine the fiqh behind and the history of the hadiths on the child of adultery. What was their context? And in particular, the verse I want to use as my basis is this verse which I have quoted. عُتُلٍ بَعْدَ ذَلِكَ زَنِيمٍ, violent and born abased illegitimately. When I want to look at this verse, I'd like to look at it in the following stages. Number one, who does Allah refer to as being a child of zina in the Quran? And why does Allah condemn them? Number two, what are the hadiths of the Imams of Ahlul Bayt about the child of Zina? And why is it that the Imams say the angels visit Karbala first, then they go to Arafah on the day of Arafah? What does it have to do with the children of Zina? Number three, is there a possibility that the context of the hadiths had a bearing on the political climate of the time and the position of Ali ibn Abi Talib? Number four, how does the ayah in the Quran, وَلَا تَزِرُ وَازِرَةٌ وِزْرَ أُخْرَى, play a role in this? Number five, what are the opinions of the fuqaha of Ahlul Bayt? And are they unanimous that the son of Zina can never become a judge or can never lead salah? Number six, on the 10th of Muharram, how did Imam al-Hussein and Ali al-Akbar point to a particular leader being from that background? And number seven, how important is it to have purity within a school far, far away from the act of zina? Let's explain this and seek to dissect this topic in complete depth. The ayah in the Quran in Surah 68 is a phenomenal ayah. The ayah refers to one of the most famous men in Arabian society. Arabia used to have a number of aristocrats when Rasulullah was growing up. These aristocrats, in many cases, were very arrogant loan sharks. They made their money by getting pilgrims to come to the Kaaba, and when these pilgrims would not have enough money at the end, they'd give them a loan but charge interest on the loan. These aristocrats, who were they? They were Abu Sufyan was one of them. Another of them was Utbah bin Rabi'ah, the father of Hind. Another of them was Abu Lahab. Another of them was Abu Jahl. But one in particular was the loan shark of loan shark and the arrogance of arrogance, Walid ibn al-Mughira. Walid ibn al-Mughira was the wealthiest person in Arabia. Walid ibn al-Mughira was so wealthy, he used to own what was known as a qintar. A qintar, when you get the skin of a bull, yes, you've seen how big a bull is, yes? If you get the whole skin of a bull and you carry gold in that skin, that's how much he owned. As in for us in this day and age, if I had 1 bar of gold, I would say Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, yes? Whereas if I have a whole bull skin of gold, that's how wealthy he was. And he was arrogant, firstly because he was good looking, secondly because he was wealthy, thirdly because he had a number of sons while there are others who had no sons. So he used to walk around with pride, he used to walk around with arrogance, and even his slaves, he used to give them 1,000 dinar each to go and trade. As in, you've got to be wealthy if you tell your slave, you know what, here's $1,000, go trade in the stocks for me. He at that time used to give his slaves 1,000 dinar. He used to say to them, go and trade for me. And therefore he was known as a man who was also a judge of the Arabic language. In which way? Walid ibn al-Mughira was the most powerful orator in the Arabic language. His poetry could not be equaled by anyone until one day he heard the words of Surah Fussilat in the Quran. Walid used to hear from Abu Jahl that, you know what, Muhammad has got some sort of Arabic which is mesmerizing the people. Walid, you should go over there and you should listen to his Arabic. You're the greatest poet in Arabia. Therefore go over there, and when you go over there, make sure that you finish Muhammad, yes? Go there, give a few lyrics and finish the man. He went past Rasulullah when Rasulullah had the revelation of Fussilat. When Walid went past, he suddenly stood still and pondered. The Arabic of this Quran is something extraordinary. He was in a daze that my poetry is the best poetry of any Arab, but Muhammad has a piece of poetry which none can come near. And he couldn't accuse Rasulullah of writing the Quran. Why? Rasulullah had not gone to any school in Arabia. You see, if I went to the Harvard of Arabia or to the Yale of Arabia, then someone could turn around to me and say, listen, you must have had a good professor, that's the one who made you write that Quran. Rasulullah did not go to any school in Arabia. As we know, everyone knew him as an ummi. Nobody saw him get taught by any teacher. Therefore the Holy Prophet, what happened when Walid heard this, he was confused. And the Quran describes his confusion amazingly in Surah Al-Muddathir. You find that Walid, when he went back, Abu Jahl looked at him and said, Walid, listen, what's going on? Normally you're the cockiest of the Arabs, whereas today I see you confused. He said, Muhammad's words are confusing. How is he able to get prose, rhythm and rhyme in one sentence like that? Every law of the Arabic language has been broken by him. yet nobody's taught him, and I can't answer him. Abu Jahl, being the shaitan he was, turned around to him and said, well, Walid, you need to understand one thing, that if you admit Muhammad's Arabic is better than yours, then you lose your status. And in life, we don't like losing our status. We want to make sure that our ego is not deflated. So you know what Walid did? He said, you know what, let me think about this. If you go tonight to the Quran, Surah Al-Muddathir, if all of you go, read exactly how Walid thinks about what's happening. إِنَّهُ فَكَّرَ وَقَدَّرَ فَقُتِلَ كَيْفَ قَدَّرَ ثُمَّ قُتِلَ كَيْفَ قَدَّرَ ثُمَّ نَظَرَ ثُمَّ عَبَسَ وَبَسَرَ أَدْبَرَ وَاسْتَكْبَرَ فَقَالَ إِنْ هَذَا إِلَّا سِحْرٌ يُؤْثَرَ إِنْ هَذَا إِلَّا قَوْلُ الْبَشَرِ. You know what the Quran says? He pondered and he thought. Cursed may be the way he thought, and then arrogantly he thought, then he looked, yes, and he thought, then he turned away with arrogance and thought. This is just the words of a magician. These are the words of a normal human being. Even when he says the Quran is the words of a magician, I don't mind. That's cool for me. You know why? Because magic is extraordinary, so the Quran has to be extraordinary. Yes, if you said that they're normal words, I'll say no. He said in هذا إلا سحر. Sihr in English is magic. He said there's no way I'm accepting this. He knew he had been defeated. But in life, sometimes when you see the haqq in front of you, sometimes it's not easy to accept. As in, you can find even Muslims in the world today, the haqq of Islam is clear in front of him, but he's blind to it. He doesn't want to. His arrogance doesn't allow him. And subhanallah, this man, instead of accepting the message of Rasulullah, this man turned arrogantly against Rasulullah and fought Rasulullah. And do you know how this man died? Subhanallah, arrogance. Ali ibn Abi Talib used to say, the arrogant is like a person who's on the top of a mountain. He looks down at the people, looking at them small, but they look at him and say, you are small. Correct? As in, the arrogant looks down at people and is like, you know what, you're all small. But the one who's over there, when he's looking up at you at the mountains also, you know what, you're small as well. Correct? Ali ibn Abi Talib, sometimes in few words, he just explains life as a whole, really. And Walid ibn al-Mughira, that was his arrogance. In which way? Walid ibn al-Mughira, do you know how he died? Instead of accepting the Quran, Walid ibn al-Mughira, how does he die? One day he's on his way back home. He's rejected the Quran. On his way back home, there was a blacksmith, and the blacksmith was working. The splinter from the blacksmith went straight into the leg of Walid ibn al-Mughira. These splinters can sometimes be poisonous if you let them stay in the blood, yes? So when it got stuck there, Walid wanted to remove it, but there was some people below him, around him. So he thought, if I bend down for a few moments, I might be lower than them. You know, when the Arabs rejected Salah, Rasulullah said, why don't you pray? They said, Muhammad, the idea of our backside being higher than our head doesn't work. Give me any other act, I'll do it. But that, I will never lower myself. Walid said, you know what, I'm not lowering myself, let me walk home. He's walking home with a limp, walks home with a limp. He's in extreme pain. This is cut right through him and he's bleeding. He gets inside the house. When he gets inside, he wants to remove it. There's the slaves and the maids in the house. Again, he's thinking, well, if I bend down, it'll be the first time I've been lower than that African maid. Let me go to sleep with this. And he went to sleep that night and he died in his sleep because of this infection. Instead of this man coming towards the religion of Islam, you found that that man, because of this, he died. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala looked at the arrogance of this man. He says, I gave him children, I gave him wealth, I gave him the Quran right in front of him, yet still he turns away arrogant. And one of the things Allah describes in him is what? Utullin ba'da dhalika zanim. Not just is he violent with my Prophet and his message, but he is also born from an illegitimate birth. That Walid ibn al-Mughira, Allah exposed him. That's when you see a man see haqq like this, and he has hatred for my Prophet Muhammad, and my Prophet Muhammad is a mercy to mankind, then know that that man hates not just Muhammad, he hates the world around him. That man is born from an illegitimate birth. Therefore in the Quran, many argue that the only man Allah mentioned as being born from illegitimate birth purposefully was Walid ibn al-Mughira. But do you know what happened in history? The scholars of tafsir don't attack him too much, Walid ibn al-Mughira. Why? Please listen to this point carefully. The scholars of tafsir, when they come to this ayah about Walid, they write, yes, this is about Walid ibn al-Mughira. We will stop there. Why? Why did you stop there? Because if Walid's son is a famous Sahabi who you love, then you can't attack daddy. True? Who's his son? Khalid ibn al... You can't attack the dad of a Sahaba who you love. You know where I'm going. You can't attack the dad of a Sahaba you love. Khalid ibn al-Walid, for the few years he joined Islam, you can't attack his dad Walid. No. Yes, his dad is of illegitimate birth, no problem. But stop there. The tafsir doesn't go further. If you can't attack Khalid because his dad is Walid, you can't attack Walid because his son is Khalid, then what's this attack on Abu Talib in every single book? You want to see clear hatred of Ali ibn Abi Talib? This is the clearest hatred. Every opportunity to attack Abu Talib, straight away. No hesitation. Abu Talib is in the bottom of hell. Ali ibn Abi Talib is not your fourth Khalifa. You claim to me that you Shia say we don't love Ahlul Bayt. No, we love Ali, we love Hassan. What do you mean you love? Look at the books of your history. Look at the books of your history. Abu Talib, whenever there's a chance, they said Surah At-Tawbah is Abu Talib, even though Surah At-Tawbah was revealed 12 years after Abu Talib died. Yes? Say Surah At-Tawbah is about Abu Talib. Why? Khalid ibn al-Walid, we can't attack his dad. No. But Ali ibn Abi Talib, attack. It's normal. You don't need to fake your love for Ali ibn Abi Talib. We know. Because we know until today you can't make a decision about the day of Jamal. And the fact that you can't make a decision about the day of Jamal means Ali ibn Abi Talib to you sometimes is okay, sometimes is not. Therefore you found that Khalid's father, Walid, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala attacked him in the Quran as being what? Of illegitimate birth. And that's why when you look at the traditions in the school of Ahlul Bayt, when it came to the child of Zina, you found some of these traditions were vicious, without a doubt. The tradition I mentioned from the 5th Imam when he said clearly that the child of Zina is the product of Shaitan and the Zaniya. Number one. Number two, you found 6th Imam was asked, why is it the angels go to Karbala first on the day of Arafah, then they go to Arafah? Many of you have heard this, that on the day of Arafah, the angels go to Karbala, send their salams to Imam al-Hussein, then they come to Arafah. You know what Imam al-Sadiq replied? Because in Karbala, everyone is of pure birth, whereas in Arafah, you have a mix of the two. It's vicious. Number three, Imam says, if you want to know the sign of a son of Zina, know the ones who don't pay khums, question their birth. Question the birth of the one who doesn't pay khums. Clear? In another hadith, you find the Imam saying, animals are better than the sons of Zina. Please understand these hadiths carefully. I want to bring them in their context. Animals are better than the son of Zina. Why? Because they boarded the ark of Noah, whereas the son of Zina was arrogant not to come into it. The army of Dajjal is mainly made up of sons of Zina. The army of Sufyani is mainly made up of sons of Zina. If you want to know a son of Zina, listen to what the Prophet says. If you want to know the son of Zina, they are someone who commits a lot of Zina. A. Number two, they have hatred for the world that surrounds them. Number three, they hate their religious duties. They hate praying, they hate fasting. Number four, they always speak ill of others and never good. In other words, the traditions of Ahlul Bayt on the sons of Zina are vicious. There are so many traditions, chapters, that the son of Zina is this, son of Zina is that, son of Zina is this. Therefore, someone asked the question that if now today someone is a revert, comes to join the religion of Islam, and originally he was the son of Zina, or there is a Muslim and originally was the son of Zina, can that person love Ali ibn Abi Talib? Because Rasulullah also says, if you want to know the person who hates Ali ibn Abi Talib, there's three signs of them. Either they are a munafiq, or they are born from zina, or their birth was consummated while the mother was in the periods. Rasulullah saying this. Now if someone is born from zina, someone will turn around and say, hold on, that person who's born from zina, does that mean no one can love Ali ibn Abi Talib? Because I'll tell you straight out, I will be very frank with you. I have a friend of mine who admits he never met his father and he knows he was born from zina. this friend of mine loves Amir al-Mu'mineen to a level no one can imagine. This friend of mine is passionate about Amir al-Mu'mineen, has gone ziyarah of Najaf. There are those who are born loving Ali ibn Abi Talib, they've not even gone to visit him in Najaf. And there are others who had to find him and go and visit him and pay to go and visit him. So does that mean the person God love? The point about these hadiths on the child of zina is that there is a context to these hadith. What's the context? The hadiths are not absolute. The hadiths are context bound. In which way? There was a period where there was confusion about the status of Ali ibn Abi Talib and the Ahl al-Bayt, where all of a sudden companions of Rasulullah were now coming out and fighting Ali ibn Abi Talib, coming out and attacking Ali ibn Abi Talib, coming out and showing rudeness and saying, we are the protectors of the Quran, we are the protectors of the Sunnah. Imam al-Baqir and Imam al-Sadiq, living in the time of Bani Umayyah, realized that certain Umayyads people are not sure about good or bad. So they came down harshly to say that if you ever see a person hating Ali ibn Abi Talib, then no, question their origin and you'll know why they hate Ali ibn Abi Talib. Let me explain. You see, there are some companions, if you looked at their history, you'll realize that it's their history that made the context of such a tradition. Like who? Amr ibn al-As. Nobody hated Ali ibn Abi Talib like Amr ibn al-As. Amr ibn al-As is a pure menace to Islam. And I stand by my words. And anyone who's watching this, if they want to debate me on Amr ibn al-As, I am willing to debate anytime, any place. In the time of Rasulullah, enemy of Islam, clear enemy. In the time of Uthman, even an enemy of Uthman, especially because Uthman kicked him out of Egypt. Against Ali ibn Abi Talib, you will not find a more satanic figure in his attack on Ali ibn Abi Talib like Amr ibn al-As. Amr ibn al-As is Muawiyah's right hand, yes? If you ever want to see someone stir up trouble against Amir al-Mu'mineen and push people away from the love of Ali ibn Abi Talib, it's Amr ibn al-As. Amr ibn al-As, Rasulullah said what? The signs of the hate of Ali ibn Abi Talib is he's born from zina, or when the mother is in the menstrual, or he's a munafiq. Amr ibn al-As had that much hatred for Ali ibn Abi Talib, yes? Is there a context to this? Yes, look at his birth. Amr ibn al-As, do you know how he came to this world? Amr ibn al-As came to this world through a lottery ball. His mother, yes, she had a certain job in Arabia. The job in those days used to have a red flag outside the house. Electricity changes things. In those days, she used to have a red flag outside the house. And what used to happen was, with this red flag, is everyone was more than welcome to enter the house. Yes, they were made to be welcome. And as the poet says, there are many houses with high fences, except the mother of Amr ibn al-As. Anyone was allowed to jump over that fence and enter. That Amr ibn al-As's mother, everyone was allowed to enter her house. When she was pregnant and she gave birth, people were asking the question, who's the dad? Yes? Not sure, because there's 6 frequent visitors. How many? 6. So these 6 frequent visitors would come. So they had a lottery ball, 6 different names, pick out a name. The name came out, Al-As bin Wa'il. So they said he is now called Amr ibn al-As. You know Surah Al-Kawthar, إِنَّا أَعْطَيْنَاكَ الْكَوْثَرَ فَصَلِّ لِرَبِّكَ وَانْحَرْ إِنَّ شَانِئَكَ هُوَ الْأَبْتَرِ. Al-As bin Wa'il came to Rasulullah, said, Muhammad, where's your kids? They keep dying when they're young. Quran replied, إِنَّا أَعْطَيْنَاكَ الْكَوْثَرِ. When Fatima is given, that is Kawthar, yes? فَصَلِّ لِرَبِّكَ وَانْحَرْ إِنَّ شَانِئَكَ هُوَ الْأَبْتَرِ. No, Al-As, it's you who don't have a line, not me. That means Amr is not his kid. إِنَّ شَانِئَكَ هُوَ الْأبْتَرِ. Al-As bin Wa'il is the one who Quran said he has no line. That means Amr is not even his son. It was a lottery ball they picked out. And that's why I'll never forget Aqil, when he went to Muawiyah in Sham. Muawiyah heard Aqil, brother of Ali, is come to visit me. Let's make a big festival for him. As you know, Aqil, son of Abu Talib, used to know the genealogies. Yes? He used to tell you the genealogies. So Aqil came to Muawiyah's palace. Muawiyah sitting down, Amr ibn al-As is sitting down, a few other companions are sitting down. So Aqil looked. Muawiyah said, Aqil, we heard you know the genealogies, yes? So Muawiyah at that moment said to him, tell us about the genealogy of Amr ibn al-As. Aqil looked at him and he said, 6 different people claimed they were the father of Amr ibn al-As. So Muawiyah said, how did you find out who was the father then? Said, we picked out a name from the bowl, and that's when we found out who his dad was. Yes, you find out people's dad's names by lottery. Then after that Muawiyah said, how about me? He said, go ask Arabia what your grandma's job was, then we'll know about your ancestry as well. Muawiyah is not someone easy to defeat. Yes? So Muawiyah turned around to Aqil and he said, hey Aqil, how's your uncle Abu Lahab? Is he still burning in hell? To which Aqil replied, yes, he is with whom? He is with Jamil, your auntie. They're both in hell together. Yes? Jamil is Abu Lahab's wife. She was Abu Sufyan's sister. Finished him. What a reply. So Amr ibn al-As therefore at Siffin, this is the so-called companion. Do you know in Egypt they have a mosque so huge which is called Masjid Amr ibn al-As radiyallahu anh. Yes? This companion is the one who fought Ali ibn Abi Talib at Siffin. When Imam Ali fought him one-on-one, you know he's the one who when he fell down, Imam was going to strike him, he pulled down his trousers. Ali ibn Abi Talib turned around, he ran away from the battlefield. When the hadith said the son of Zina will not love Ali ibn Abi Talib, does that mean every son of Zina? No. Contextually, that Amr ibn al-As, if you're not sure about whether he's right or whether Ali ibn Abi Talib is right, go and ask about his birth. You'll know about his hatred to Ali ibn Abi Talib. Let me give you another example. Another example is who? Ziyad bin Abi. Please understand this carefully. Ziyad bin Abi. Who can translate that for me in English? Ziyad, son of his father. What else do you want? Ziyad, son of his father. Imagine you went to school. Someone asks you, what's your name? He says, my name is Ammar, son of my dad. Who's your dad? Son of my dad. Imagine. And my dear brothers, we laugh, but these cause a hurt in my heart, wallah. Ziyad bin Abi. You know why they wouldn't say who his father is? His father did not know until later that Abu Sufyan had been with the mother. In Islam, you don't connect the Zani with the Zania. You don't be proud and say, yes, I'm Ziyad, son of Abu Sufyan. Abu Sufyan committed zina with the mom, yes? You don't go out and say, yes, I'm Ziyad, son of Abu Sufyan. Do you know who came out and said, call him Ziyad, son of Abu Sufyan? Muawiyah. Muawiyah said, why are you all mocking him? Call him what his real name is. Ziyad bin Abi Sufyan. Do you know this man instituted the la'na of Ali ibn Abi Talib every Friday? Every Friday, a khutbah of Salat al-Jum'ah could not be complete unless Ali ibn Abi Talib is cursed. Has to have a curse. For over 55 years until Umar bin Abdul Aziz stopped it. Otherwise in Bani Umayyah, in their pulpits, because of this Ziyad bin Abi would institute this cursing. And Ziyad bin Abi is the father of who? Who's his son? Ubaydullah bin? Rubbish from rubbish. Filth from filth. In Ziyarat Ashura we say, La'na on Ibn Ziyad, yes? And La'na on Ibn Marjana. Same person. Why you call him by his mom's name? To remind everyone what the mom's job was. The mom has a job. Marjana had a job. Go research what her job was. Then you'll know why kids come out like this. Yes? Likewise in Nahj al-Balagha, Imam talks to Amr ibn al-As. He says, oh son of Nabigha. Hold on, why don't you say, oh son of Amr? Go find out the mom's name. Find out the job. Then you'll realize why he hates me and hates all the good Sahaba of Rasulullah. That's why one day Abu Julaf al-Ajli came to his father. He said, Dad, have you heard this hadith? His dad said, what is it? He goes, they say Ali ibn Abi Talib, whoever hates him, is either a son of zina, or he's born because his mother was in the menstrual, or he's a hypocrite. Dad, what stupidity. I hate Ali ibn Abi Talib and I'm none of these. You know what the dad said? He said, no, you're actually one of them. So he said to him, what do you mean? He said, we had a slave girl in the house and I consummated the relationship while she was in the menstrual. That's probably why you hate Ali ibn Abi Talib. Clear? Clear. When these hadiths came, these hadiths weren't saying every human who's born from that will never love. No. There's a context. That there was a certain generation of Umayyads. From that particular birth, the Imams wanted to show, listen, Go and research these people's origin, and you'll realize why the son of Zina hates Ali ibn Abi Talib. And that's why people like Jabir bin Abdullah al-Ansari, Salih bin Abbad, they would very clearly say, Sahib bin Abbad and Jabir bin Abdullah would say that if ever you want to know why there is a problem with your child loving Ali, go and find out what his mother's done, then you'll know what the issue is. When they said that, it's because they were making clear that all these enemies of Ali ibn Abi Talib, if you were to research them one by one, either somewhere in their lineage, grandmother, mother, there is an adultery case. When they were born in this world, they knew their mother had houses with flags, and it angered them, and they took out their anger. And why go far? I don't want to go far, but there's a certain Iraqi dictator you all remember who died a few years ago, yes? And those of you who know his story will know that his mother, what her job was in Iraq. He knew very well what his mom's job was in Iraq, and he took out his hatred of the world because of everyone attacking his mom for what her job was when he was a young boy. I don't need to go further than that, yes? If you look at others as well, other dictators, there's a complex, that there's no doubt. And that's why Ahlul Bayt alayhim as-salam, when they spoke of the son of Zina, they spoke by saying that psychologically there is an issue. Someone turns around and asks an interesting question. Are you saying all sons of Zina are to be blamed? No, not at all. Because there's a principle in the Quran. The principle in Surah 17 verse 15, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَلَا تَزِرُ وَازِرَةٌ وِزْرَ أُخْرَى. You can't take the burden of one and put it on a burden of another. If the mother has done something bad, why blame the child? As in Islamic justice is not just. Can you tell that child, you know what, you are bad because of what your mother did? No, you can't. The Quran said this verse, Surah 17 verse 15, وَلَا تَزِرُ وَازِرَةٌ وِزْرَ أُخْرَى. Do not put the burden of someone else's act on that particular person. That particular person, you can't put that burden. It's unfair, it's unjust. Someone then turns around and asks, well then, the fuqaha, why do they say the son of Zina can't lead salah? Or the son of Zina can't become a mujtahid? Let's look at the opinions of the fuqaha, because someone says, is it only the Shia who are harsh on the sons of Zina? If you read an imam like Tahawi very clearly, one of the most famous of the Sunni imams, Imam al-Tahawi says, the son of Zina pester them, irritate them. He even has a line, the son of Zina will commit more zina than the traveler of Ibn Sabir on the road. It's not just the ulama of Ahlul Sunnah, even of the Shiites, even the Sunnah. However, the ulama of Shia, do they all say that the son of Zina cannot lead salah? You find, for example, Sharif al-Murtada said, while it is not haram, it is something reprehensible. Not haram, but makruh. Someone says, why is it makruh? The kid hasn't done anything wrong. Why can't he lead? Yes, that person may not have done something wrong. But when a member of our community sees a white piece of paper and there's a black dot, boy, do we love to pick on that black dot. I'm sure you agree. You could see someone who's got such a white piece of paper. Maybe there's a couple of black dots. Let's attack his black dot in particular. Yes? Whether we like it or we don't, if someone's leading salah in the community, if there's someone within the community turn around and say, you know what that person's origin is, and then it spreads in the community, this could be detrimental not to the person, but to the community at large. But did Sharif al-Murtada say that it's haram for someone to lead salah? Sharif al-Murtada is of the opinion, makruh, not haram. Take it a step further. Can they become a judge of the school of Ahlul Bayt? Yes, mujtahid they can become, no doubt. They can do their own taqleed. Marja' is where the debate is, because you know, every marja' is a mujtahid. But not every mujtahid is a marja'. A mujtahid who publishes his work is a marja'. So, can the son of Zina become a judge? You find, for example, Asfahani, the great scholar himself, makes it clear that it's open to question. Why should someone say that no way they can become a marja'? Yes, most of the ulama say, while there's a black dot on his CV. Imagine today, you have a marja' of Ahlul Bayt. I promise you, if we found out one thing they done wrong, none of us would respect them anymore. True or no? Because we held them that highly. Sometimes people say, Sayyid Sistani, why is he in his house not moving out? Why does he come out? I tell you, if our people saw him walking the street of Najaf, yes? If they saw him and he walked past the greengrocer, he's buying tomatoes, and there's a lady next to him, do not be surprised if the Chinese whispers makes the biggest rumor about Sayyid Sistani. I tell you, it's our people. We look for something to spread a rumor. I'm not saying that a person shouldn't come out, but what I'm saying is that when they say there's a debate about the son of Zina, it's because if another school in Islam says, you know what, we found out the marja of the Shia, his mom used to have this job and this is his background, they will use that against that person and against the school. Yes, that person in the eyes of Allah is innocent and we don't care about the people, but at the end of the day, the reality is we are social animals. We're part of a very fabric of society where there's interaction. So you have Asfahani saying it's open to question, maybe they can become maraji'. Sharif al-Murtada saying it's makruh for them to lead salah but not haram. Let's look at the ulama of Ahl Sunnah. What do they say about leading salah for the child of zina? You have Ahmad bin Hanbal allows the son of zina to lead salah. Yes, no problem. Imam Malik says no way, the son of zina cannot lead salah. Yes? Imam al-Shafi'i has an interesting opinion. And remember, my dear brothers and sisters, these are academic opinions. We are not here to make humorous comments. These are academic opinions and we have to respect these. But his opinion is, a son of zina can lead salah if the first row are all sons of zina. Yani if all the front row are sons of zina and the person leading is a son of zina, but at the end of the day, everyone has their fiqh school, and I don't want to be disrespectful to an imam of a school of fiqh, but we know very well that these are their opinions, and at the end of the day, they will be judged by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for them. In other words, in Islam, within the Ja'fari school, there is a debate concerning this area, and likewise, in other schools in Islam, there is a debate that for someone to turn around and say unanimously and absolutely the son of zina can never love Ahlul Bayt, no, not at all. There is a context to these traditions, and without a doubt that was an Umayyad period. You move on and you see, subhanallah, sometimes in Islamic history, these sons of zina, some of them, their hatred against the world came out viciously against Ahlul Bayt alayhim as-salam. Do not think that that child who's born in this world, whatever background they are, when they see purity, they feel hatred to a world that didn't give them that purity. It can happen. And I tell you, it happened in different ways. One of the saddest ways I remember it happening was night of the 11th of Muharram. Yes? On the night of the 11th of Muharram, after Imam al-Hussein had been killed, and this is narrated by Mukhtar. Mukhtar narrates this 5 years after Karbala. Mukhtar says, I captured 10 horse riders. And I asked them, what did you do on the 10th of Muharram? They said, nothing. We did mainly our work after Hussein got killed. So I said, what did you do? Said, Umar bin Sa'ad had killed all of Hussein's companions. So he turned around to each one of us. We were 10 horse riders. He said, what's your names? He said, this is our names. What's your dad's name? He said, we don't know our dads. If you ever want to see a regime in the world, the people they get to torture are normally kids like this. They'll get these people to torture because these hate the world. In Iraq, the filth used to pick these people to torture the Shia in prison. Because that person hates the world. He's got no dad. He doesn't know who his dad is, so I'm going to take out all my venom on you. He said, what's your name? They gave the name. What's your dad's name? Don't know the dad's name. I said, very well. So what did you do? He said, he told us, sharpen the hooves of your horses. So they looked at him, they said, okay. They got off the horse, they said, and we began to sharpen the hooves. And we sat back on our horse. So then Mukhtar said, what did you do next? He said, we heard Umar bin Sa'ad saying, O horse riders, ride your horses and trample on the body of Hussein. Don't switch the lights off just yet, please. Not yet, not yet. Trample on the body of Hussein. Those of you who've been to Karbala, there is something I would like to tell you, but actually I can't say it openly, but let me just give you a hint. Where Imam al-Hussein is beheaded is still there. And where he's buried, you see that darih there? That beautiful darih? This is the distance from where he's beheaded to the darih. I used to always ask, why is there a distance? If Shimr beheads him here, why is he there? They kicked his body so much, like a football, until his body reached all the way there. And that's when Zainab tells Imam Zain al-Abidin, I hear something breaking. And he says to her, my auntie, it's my father's bones. Ya Abu Abdullah. So they kicked him. Yazid, you know what he did after Karbala? He ransacked Medina, and his soldiers raped 1,000 women in Medina. Those kids who are born from there are born from this rape. Someone turns around and says, what if I have a child from Zina? Can I abort? No, you can't. In our communities today, abortion has become normal. So a guy and a girl have an illegitimate relationship. They don't want the community to hear. You don't want the community to hear, you don't want Allah to hear. May Allah save those who have those relationships which abort abortions and they lie to their parents. May Allah save them. If you have done that, write to me tonight. I will tell you what the blood money is and do tawbah. Yazid bin Muawiyah ordered the soldiers rape the woman of Medina. 1,000 women gave birth 9 months later. He knew, let them be born like that, it'll be sons of zina, none of them know their dads, infiltrate the society like that. And that's why on the 10th of Muharram, there are a couple of lines where Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam and Ali al-Akbar point towards Ibn Ziyad and point towards others there and tell them, O you of son of illegitimate birth. Imam al-Hussein, when he says, Ad-Da'i ibn Ad-Da'i, yes? ركز بين اثنتين بين السلة والذلة وهيهات من الذلة. Imam al-Hussein says, the son of illegitimate birth gives me 2 options, the sword or humiliation. Never will I be humiliated. But what does it say? Son of illegitimate birth. This Ibn Ziyad and all this. Yes? The other person who said that on the 10th of Muharram, Ali al-Akbar, when he came in the beginning of his battle. In the beginning of his battle he said, أنا علي ibn al-Husayn ibn Ali, نحن وبيت الله أولى بالنبي, أطعنكم بالرمح حتى ينثني, أضربكم بالسيف أحمي عن أبي, ضرب غلام هاشمي علوي, والله لا يحكم فينا ابن الدعي. You know what Ali al-Akbar said? Ali Akbar said, there's no way the son of illegitimate will rule over me. Yes? I am Ali ibn al-Husayn ibn Ali. We and the house of Allah have the greater right on the Prophet. I will strike you with a spear to finish you. And I'll strike you with a sword defending my father. A strike which is Hashimi from one side, Alawi from another. The son of illegitimate birth will never rule over me. In other words, they made it clear that at Karbala, we know some of you. We know your hatred towards us is because you don't know who your dads are. You're taking out all your animosity on us. And we are Ahl Bayt al-Nubuwah. We are Ma'din al-Risala. We are Mukhtalif al-Malaika. We are Khuzan al-Ilm. They took out their hatred on the pure lights of Al-Muhammad on this earth. Be the light a 50-year-old, be the light a 57-year-old, be the light a 33-year-old, or be the light an 11 and 9-year-old like Aun and Muhammad. Yes? 11 and 13, 11 and 9, different narrations as to the sons of Sayyidah Zainab. And I tell you, these were truly the pure ones on earth. In Dua Nutbah, what do we say? Aina al-Hasan, Aina al-Husayn, Aina abna al-Husayn. صالح بعد صالح, صادق بعد صادق. أين الشموس الطالعة, أين الأنجم الزاهرة, أين الأقمار المنيرة. Yes, Ahl al-Bayt are the moon and the sun on this earth, and their children are the purest of pure, and none were as pure as Sayyidah Zainab's 2 boys. Yes? Ya Allah, our heart is in Sham. Ya Allah, our heart is near that Darih. Those of you who've been there, I want you to go there tonight, please. Because there is a lady alone over there at the moment. She's alone. There is a lady with no one. There's a few handful of great men protecting her while we are here. And it brings guilt to us that we can't be there to protect Sayyidah Zainab alayhi salam. Ya Allah, we want to return to Sayyida Zainab. Ya Allah, we want to return to the bazaar in Sham and walk there to remember the way Zainab was slapped in that bazaar, yes? We want to return there to remember the way Sukaina was whipped when she walked with her auntie Zainab, yes? Ya Allah, we want to walk there to remember the hijab of Zainab and the way they snatched off the hijab of the granddaughter of Rasulullah. Ya Allah, on a night like this, every lover of Zainab gives his heart to Aun and Muhammad. Because you know, on the night of the 10th of Muharram, she had said to them, she said, my two young boys, are you going to make me proud tomorrow? The mothers today, this is your night, mothers. Because the mothers who have sons tonight and the coming nights are your nights. We're coming to Ali al-Akbar, we're coming to the 6-month-old baby, we're coming to Abbas and al-Bani, we're coming. These are the mother's nights. She said to them, Aun, Muhammad, come here next to me. They said to her, what is it, mother? She said, tomorrow, will you make me proud? Because Ali al-Akbar is going to make Layla proud, yes? And Qasim is going to make Ramla proud. And Abbas is going to make his mother al-Banin proud, yes? And my brother Hussein will make my mother proud. Brothers and sisters, never forget the masab of Zainab. Hussein had to go Karbala once, Zainab had to go Karbala twice. Imam al-Hussein died in Karbala. Sayyidah Zainab had to come back to Karbala. She had to come back. Ya Allah. They looked at her and they said, Mother, of course we will make you proud. Mother, do not worry. Our granddads, who are they? Mother, from your side, our granddad is Ali ibn Abi Talib. And from our dad's side, our granddad is Ja'far al-Tayyar. Then they said a line I will never forget. And mother, how could you be worried about about your sons when you have Abbas to protect you? Ya Allah, Ya Aba al-Fadl. Ya Aba al-Fadl. Ya Aba al-Fadl. So on the 10th of Muharram, when the companions had died, they went towards their uncle Imam al-Hussein. Ya Allah. They went towards Aba Abdullah. They saw him standing alone. I tell you, your heart breaks when you think how that man stood alone. You know Wahab al-Kalbi, Wahab, when he at the beginning, when he wanted to go and fight, his wife didn't let him. You know the story. His wife didn't let him. Then again, he wanted to fight. His wife said no. Then again, his wife said go. He said, why did you change your mind? She said two things. One, I saw the children of Hussein crying. But the other, I saw Hussein standing alone by that tent. So they came to Imam al-Hussein. They said, uncle, can we go out and fight for you? Uncle, let us defend you. Imam al-Hussein looked at their eyes. He began to cry because he remembered when him and Imam al-Hassan were that young about to fight. Yes, Imam al-Hussein remembered Imam al-Hassan when both of them were together. Then Imam al-Hussein looked at them and he says, my dear nephews, I don't want you to fight. I want you to protect Zainab because my mother said, make sure you look after Zainab. Yes, my mother Fatima said, look after Zainab, Hussein. My dear nephews, please. My dear nephews, I saw my mother Fatima al-Zahra die with your mother Zainab next to me. And both of us saw our father Ali ibn Abi Talib die in front of us. Both of us saw our brother Imam al-Hassan die in front of us. Oh my dear nephews, I want to protect your mother from seeing anything else. They looked towards Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. They began to cry. But from far away he saw Sayyidah Zainab standing by the tent alone. So he began to walk towards Sayyidah Zainab. Then they went to their mother. The mother said, are you ready to fight? They said, mother, our uncle doesn't let us. Yes, this broke her heart. She walked to Imam al-Hussein. She said, Aba Abdullah, I beg you, let them fight. Ya Allah. I don't know which one was harder, her letting them fight or her carrying the horse for Hussein in his last moment. Aba Abdullah, I beg you, let them fight. He said to her, Zainab, I don't want you to be alone after I die. I want these two to stay with you. She said two things to him which broke his heart. The first of them, she said, Aba Abdullah, Layla will answer on the day of judgment, she will give Akbar. Rabab will give the 6-month-old, yes? Al-Baneen will give Abbas. Aba Abdullah, what do I show my mother Fatima? Then she said, Aba Abdullah, don't you remember when we saw Abu Fadl al-Abbas when he was a young man in the army? And don't you remember the smile on my father Ali ibn Abi Talib's face? Are you going to deprive my sons? He said, no Zainab, I won't. Aoun and Muhammad came out towards the opposition, two young boys alongside each other. They began to fight the opposition. One by one they were able to get through them. Umar bin Sa'ad at that moment, he called out, these are the sons of Zainab, these are the grandsons of Ali ibn Abi Talib, surround them, make sure you attack them. Every time they attacked a member of the opposition, they turn around to their uncle Abbas, yes, and they turn around and say, uncle, are you proud of us? Yes, Uncle Abbas, are you proud of our performance? Until all of a sudden a few men began to surround them. When one of the men attacked Aoun, Muhammad jumped in the way to protect Aoun, yes. Then when another man came to attack Aoun, Aoun fell on the ground. He called out, Assalamu alayka ya Aba Abdullah. Imam al-Hussein came running towards Aoun, yes? He came towards him. The conversation that took place breaks the heart of every lover of Hussein. Aoun looked towards Imam al-Hussein. He said, uncle, are you proud of what both of us have done today? Oh uncle, I beg you, when you return to my mother Zainab, I want you to tell her one thing. Imam al-Hussein wondered, what is it that you want to say? He said, I beg you tell her that I never drank any of the water because I knew she was thirsty without water in front of her. Do you know what the narrations mention? Zainab, when Aoun and Muhammad died, did not cry when he brought them back to the tents, yes? When they went to Kufa, she didn't cry for them. When they came back to Sham, she didn't cry for them. When they went back to Karbala, she didn't cry for them. Until when she reached Medina, yes? When she entered her house in Medina, she saw 2 empty mattresses in the house. She called out, oh my dear sons, I would have cried for you, but Hussein did not have anyone to cry for him. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. We pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to raise us with Muhammad and Al Muhammad. Ya Allah, raise us with the Imam of our time, Imam Sahib al-Asr wa Zaman. Ya Allah, allow us to follow the message of the Imam. Ya Allah, bless this community, allow them to continue to raise in order that they serve Muhammad and Al Muhammad. We pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala the Surah Al-Fatiha, but before it the loudest of your salawat.